May 23rd, 2020. With Memorial Day heralding the unofficial beginning of summer, everyone is flocking, kind of, to the beaches. The president is pandering to the so-called Christian right by declaring churches to be essential services. And his presumptive November opponent is blundering his way through podcast interviews while conducting his own interviews for Second Banana. And probably because the campaign has signaled that the senior senator from Massachusetts will serve as the Democratic understudy, the mainstream media has begun talking up the virtues of a Biden-Warren ticket, which I think I'll pass on. Nobody asked me, but I happen to think that Elizabeth Warren is the smartest person, not just in the Senate, but among all members of Congress. She has built her career as a plain-spoken champion of consumers. 4 years ago, I believed she was the best, most qualified person in the country to extend Barack Obama's legacy and push the boundaries of his social and economic policies. Then Hillary happened. Worried about splitting the Democratic loyalties if two women dared to run for president, the Bay State senator allowed herself to be pushed aside by an opponent who likely couldn't win a fair fight and certainly inspired no enthusiasm. Anyway, we all know what happened next. Warren was the first to throw her hat in the 2020 ring, and the first subject of these video essays way back in December 2018. Unfortunately, she missed her window, really her one shot at the brass ring. The liberals couldn't decide between her and Bernie. The moderates, along with South Carolina's black voters, settled on Biden, and here we are. Rather than promote a new, or at least younger, voice to lead the ticket, the Dems blew off much more compelling hopefuls like Cory Booker, Julian Castro, and Mayor Pete in favor of a tried-and-true gaffe machine pushing 80 who comes across as alternately offensive or simply befuddled. And while a standard-bearer's choice for Veep rarely makes a positive difference in the outcome of the election, it can have the opposite effect. Right, Sarah Palin? Still, the number 2 does say a lot about the person at the top of the ticket. I mean, the first indication that Hillary was taking the 2016 election for granted was her choice of running mate. Of course, it's too much to ask a lifelong machine politician like Joe Biden to break the mold and select a Republican to share the ticket, a case I made in the before times. And make no mistake, Elizabeth Warren is no shrinking violet like, what's-his-name, Tim Kaine. But she's no longer a fresh new face, and a Biden-Warren ticket will be, collectively, nearly 149 years old on Election Day. So who should old, and I do mean old, Joe pick? Well, Stacey Abrams would do just fine. The 48-year-old Georgian is bright, personable, and, black. Abrams, along with those mentioned above, represents the future of politics, while Biden and Warren are the opposite of whatever that is. And while Warren won't help Joe win Massachusetts or the other New England states that are going to vote for him anyhow, Abrams just might tilt the scales in Georgia, a state with more electoral votes than Massachusetts. And those 16 votes haven't gone to a Democrat since 1992. Every 4 years, we hear that this is the most important election of our lifetime. Yet every 4 years, the Dems disprove that claim by nominating another lame politician who lacks the political courage to inspire and the fortitude to fight for the win. This year is no exception, especially with an old white ticket led by a twice-failed contender who hasn't had a fresh idea since 1995. So what do you say, Joe? How about demonstrating the courage of your conviction by tapping Stacey Abrams as your partner in time? As your hydroxychloroquine-popping opponent might argue, what have you got to lose?